Buying your first home can be really exciting and also a little overwhelming, especially if you're not really sure what to look for. So in today's video, I want to break down some of the biggest red flags when you're buying a home. But before we get into that, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a new video. Okay, so to start us off, one of the biggest red flags that I see, especially in older houses or houses in rural areas that haven't been well maintained, are foundational issues. Now, it can be great to be looking for a good deal. You see something, it's like, it just needs some drywall and some paint, it'll be fine. But you want to make sure that you have a home inspection done, and if there's anything in there about a structural issue, you may not want to get into it, especially if you're buying a house for the first time. You really don't want to get into it. Anything where there's sloping floors or cracks in the walls, cracks in the foundation, those are all red flags. Again, if you're getting a home inspection, the inspector will be able to tell you just how serious. If it's a hairline crack, that may not be a big deal. But if we're looking at step cracking, if the floors are wavy, anything like that, that can be a huge issue. I had a buyer client, we were looking for houses, and we found this one house, and the whole house was just set up weird. There was kind of odd, like half steps almost in different places. And when we got under there and we saw the crawl space and the home inspection, there was not very much there. They had not dug down and laid the footers properly in the house, so the entire foundation was just shot. It was on a crawl space. There was some support with the sides of the crawl space, but there was nothing in the middle, no footers. It was just 2x4s on dirt. You do not want to be seeing that when it comes to a foundation. So if you see anything with step cracking or again, those wavy floors, you want to run. All right, red flag number 2 is a very vague or concerning home inspection. Now, you may say, Lydia, you've talked about a home inspection. I don't really know that I want to spend the money. Well, listen, a home inspection will run you anywhere from $500 to $700, depending on what you get. It might be a little bit more depending on if you need a radon test or you want to do a sewer camera. Anything like that might cost you a little bit more, but I would much rather have you make a $500, $700, or $1,000 mistake than to buy a house that's, $200,000 or more and that be the mistake. So it's really important to save your money and get with a home inspector who knows what they're doing. And this is where working with a real estate professional, such as myself, really comes in handy because we've worked with these inspectors before. We know that they know their stuff, and we can refer you out to people who know what they're doing, and they know exactly what to look for. One of the inspectors that I use is a structural engineer, and so you may consider booking with him. But that home inspection is crucial. If it comes back concerning, don't ignore the red flags, don't ignore the big ticket items. You want to make sure that even if you're throwing away $500, you don't want to keep going just because you already have $500 into it. This is one of the biggest purchases of your life. You don't want to just go into it ignoring the red flags. Red flag number 3, the price is too good to be true. How many times you've been scrolling on Zillow or maybe Realtor.com and you come across the house and it's got 1, maybe 2 pictures and the price is super low? That's a cause for concern. Now, you can absolutely go see it. You can absolutely ask questions, talk to your realtor. Maybe your realtor can ask those questions for you. But if the price is really low, you might want to be asking why. And if there's no photos, you might already have your answer. Sometimes houses that have water damage or previous fire damage, they do have to disclose that, but those prices will be way lower and everyone jumps at them, but then they forget, I've got to actually make those repairs. And if you're in a place where there's a certificate of occupancy inspection, you're going to be responsible for those repairs and for the city within a short time frame. So if the price is really low, you want to be asking why, because in a lot of cases, it's damage of some kind. And red flag number 4 is that the neighborhood raises concerns. If you're driving through a neighborhood and you already feel unsafe driving through it, it may not be a good place to be. You can find the perfect home, but if it's not in a good location, not in a place where you feel comfortable and where you feel safe, then it's not worth it. You don't want to have this beautiful house and never feel comfortable in it. So you can take some time when you're out on showings or even before or after the showing to drive the neighborhood to really get a feel of it and to know if this is somewhere where you want to live. It can be good to check the neighborhood at different times of the day. So, for instance, if you're looking at a house in the morning, maybe drive by in the evening and kind of get a feel for what life is like after work. What's the noise level? Is there visible neglect in the houses around you? Those all may be red flags. Also, another thing you can do is look up the crime stats in that area. You can call the local police department, or you can look it up online, find out what crime is generally doing in that area. Unfortunately, people are people, and everywhere you go, there's going to be some type of criminal activity in the vicinity. No place is perfect or this perfect little bubble, but if the crime stats are unusually high for that area, you're best to stay out. Plus, you want to be thinking long-term. If this is not your forever home and you're thinking of reselling, a great home in a bad neighborhood makes for a tough resale. Red flag number 5 is the seller is rushing you. Listen, this is one of the biggest purchases of your entire life. If the seller is pushing you to not get an inspection done or is trying to rush the appraisal process or anything like that, that could be a red flag. You don't know if they're trying to hide something. You don't really know what's going on. Now, in no way am I accusing people of things if they're not guilty, but it is something to give you pause if the seller just wants to push paperwork your way and wants to be done with the sale as quickly as possible, especially if there's no deadline on their end. Now, I totally understand if they're moving to a different state and they've got to be there, things like that happen. But if they're pressuring you just for no apparent reason, it's good to be asking why. Buying a home is a huge decision. You control the pace, not them. And red flag number 6 is HOA rules that don't align with your lifestyle. Listen, I know the house may be beautiful and you don't want to even go there. You don't even want to taint that beautiful house with rules that may be in the HOA, but it's so important that you read the bylaws. No house is worth being miserable in. And if you're not comfortable with what the HOA has laid out, you really don't want to live there. Listen, I sold a condo last year, and some of the rules that were in the bylaws, they seemed arbitrary to me. I'm sure they had good reasons for all of them, but if I was the person moving in there, it wouldn't fit very well with my lifestyle. That's fine. It fits with somebody else's. But you have to know what you're willing to do when you go in. If you're okay with there being different rules and whatnot, it's important to know that going in, and it's important to read those bylaws. If you don't read them and you don't know what's in them and you just sign the paperwork because you love the house so much, you may end up being miserable with all of the rules. But if you know that going in and you're okay with the rules, then fantastic, let's move forward. But you need to make an informed decision before we go there. And the 7th and final red flag are title and ownership issues. Now, you may say, Lydia, how do I know about those? Well, the beautiful thing about title is that when the seller puts the house on the market, most likely they're going to order pre-title work, and then we, on our end, are going to order our own title work. Now, before closing, your realtor will get a copy of this title report. At the bare minimum, your realtor should be sending you this report. Even better if they sit down and take the time to read through the report themselves and make sure that everything is in order, and ask questions to the title company if they see something. Title objections can be very tricky and very messy, but working with a good title company and with a real estate professional who will look through that report can make all the difference. Buying your home is a huge milestone, but it doesn't have to be risky or even overwhelming. By knowing these red flags, knowing the right questions to ask, and choosing the right realtor or team to work with to walk you through the process, you can avoid a lot of headaches, and the process can go fairly smoothly. Now, be warned, any real estate transaction will involve some type of issue. It always does. But with the right realtor, you'll get through those issues no problem whatsoever. As always, thank you for watching this video. If you find yourself in Washtenaw or Wayne County needing some professional real estate guidance, I'm your girl. You can book a call with me down in the link in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.